Good morning and welcome to Awake in the Dawn.
Isaiah 50 verse 4 says that morning by morning he wakens me and he opens my understanding to his will. It's pretty mind-boggling to me that the creator of all life also wants to fellowship with me and have a one-on-one relationship with me. But that's exactly what God the Father wants to do. I think if we position ourselves with him every day, the adventure that he has for us going forward is pretty amazing. So imagine with me, if you will, some guys on a seashore, fishing boats. They come every day and they're mending nets, cleaning nets. Maybe they just got back from fishing. And down the shoreline is a guy that's walking their direction. It's a smaller village, so they know the people that live there. And this guy's a stranger, someone they haven't seen before. And obviously he's headed their direction. And then he walks up to them, and the first thing that he says is, "Follow me." He doesn't introduce himself. He doesn't say anything about where's the local cafe, where can I get a bite to eat. His first words, apparently from Scripture, is just follow me. And ironically, there was something about this guy that they were willing to drop everything, and they did just that. So fast forward a little bit, and let's imagine that they've been going with him, traveling, watching him, going up to people who were in a hopeless situation, maybe wounded, maybe diseased. And they watched Jesus both talk, and they watched Jesus pray for these people, and they watched these lives transform from hopelessness to hope. So for weeks, they observe him in a small venue with people, and they see him with crowds of people. They noticed his life, his patternings, and observed what he was doing, and he had much effect with his life. Conversation was stirring, communication. People were really taking in this new person who had, until recently, been unknown to them in their village. And then suddenly, they see the effectiveness of the ministry of Jesus. And there's one day, we can read this in Luke chapter 11, when the disciples were observing him praying. He had just found a place and he was praying. And they approached Jesus after he was finished, and his disciples said to him, "Would you teach us to pray?" They had been seeing the effectiveness of his ministry toward people responding. And so I think they were going, teach us to pray like you pray. You talk to crowds, you preach to crowds, you pray for the sick. But then there's these times when Jesus would just suddenly vanish or walk away, and he'd be on a mountainside or under a tree, someplace praying. And so when the disciples who were following him said, "Jesus, teach me to pray. Teach us to pray," I do not think that Jesus Christ, who wants his followers to 100% win, is going to give him a B or a C game. He's going to give them their A game. So his response verbally to them, right after they asked him to teach them to pray, he said this, "Well, when you pray, begin like this: Father who is in heaven, your kingdom come, your will be done." And he begins this sequence of themes, which are simple and brief. I believe this prayer contains so much more than just a simple, brief prayer. It's beautiful just as it is. But when Jesus responded to their question, I think he gave them this pattern not only to pray, but this pattern for their life. If they would follow this sequence, I think Jesus gave them the most important model to pray and a life to live by the same themes that's going to cause them to win. And that's exactly what the Lord wants us to do. He gave them this pattern because he wants us to win. Because when we win as followers of Jesus Christ, his kingdom is glorified. His name is honored.
I want to thank you again for joining me this morning for Awake in the Dawn. Please, I encourage you to go to awakeinthedawn.com, take a look at the ministry tools that we have available for you.